DEI stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. Diversity means that organizations who reciprocate what society looks like can bring a different perspective, can enhance the public image of the company. Society likes to support organizations that reflect their values, reflect their integrity, and reflect individuals that look like them. And a prime example of that is Maytel Company. Maytel finally understood after all these years that if you create products that satisfy multiple individuals and multiple geographic and socioeconomic status, that your company will be able to sell their products and build their customer base. So now, when I was playing with Maytel dolls back in 1970, I know that's a long time ago, there weren't that many types of really types of dolls. Okay, and so now Maytel has developed dolls who have disabled Asian dolls, African American dolls, all different types of ethnicity.
Welcome to Vibrant Publishers podcast. Our guest for today is Dr. Denean Robinson, who is an experienced professional with a passion for education and leadership. She has developed and facilitated courses and seminars in various fields such as marketing, human resource development, organizational behavior, and many more. Stay tuned for our upcoming book, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Essentials, that's releasing in November. Welcome to the podcast again, Denean.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here with you.
So our topic for today is DEI at the workplace, and it would be amazing if you could begin with a simple explanation of what DEI is.
DEI stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. Diversity means that organizations who reciprocate what society looks like can bring a different perspective, can enhance the public image of the company. Society likes to support organizations that reflect their values, reflect their integrity, and reflect individuals that look like them. That is how companies are able to gather loyalty and are able to create a comprehensive product that really correlates to what diversity means. Equity means that everyone inside of the organization has the capability to receive training, resources, support, and motivation from a hierarchy. That means that equity is just that everyone is seen as important. Everybody's skill set is unique, and everybody feels like they are welcome and that they are part of the organization. Inclusiveness is that everybody has a voice. Everybody has an opportunity to share their ideas, to be able to be creative, to be able to be a part of the journey along with the organization. I always say that if an employee grows, so does the organization, because the organization, their most important asset is the growth and development of their employees, because their employees are their number one cheerleaders. Because if an employee is very excited about where they work, not only will they increase their productivity rate, but they also will talk about it. And we all know that word of mouth is the number one free type of marketing and advertising for an organization.
Got it. Thank you for sharing that. Now let's talk a little bit about your personal journey into this field, in the field of DEI. What experiences or observations sparked your interest?
Well, being an African American woman in in this country, in the United States, I have suffered discrimination. I have been a victim of racism, and organizations that understand what DEI is incorporates a environment where people feel like they are part of the journey of the organization. They're able to bring their innovation and creativity, enhance the organization's image. They're able to have different perspectives, and they're able to be able to engage and be satisfied with their work because they are appreciated. They did a poll Society of Human Resource Management did a poll prior to COVID-19. And one of the first questions they asked, they selected a group of 100 individuals that worked with various companies across the country. And they asked them, what is the number one reason why you leave an organization? And we would think that it would be because of monetary means, but it wasn't. Is that because they feel like they weren't appreciated, they weren't valued for their skill sets, they weren't valued for your loyalty. And so if a company can create an atmosphere and create policies and protocols where people can work, and people can strive, and then you can also retain and attract talented pool candidates of various backgrounds, various economic and social backgrounds, then a company can prosper and they can develop a product or service that can stand the test of time, that can be sustainable, not just for the present, but for the future. And so I wanted people to read this book, especially those who are studying human resource management, those who are already senior executives of leaders in the management, to get an organizational framework to teach individuals and companies how to create a DEI framework. And one of the principles that I talk about in my book is that, one, you need to create social media that represents what DEI. That means making sure that when you create your website pictures, that you create pictures of individuals who have disabilities, who have different ethnicities, different ages, and different sexes, because that is showing society that you welcome everyone. Social media is a big part of success of an organization. So it is up to the organization to create a reputable image, and it starts with DEI. And so DEI is just not black and white. DEI is if my child or your child had a learning disability. They're now, because of DEI laws and initiatives, they are afforded resources. It's not just about a man or a woman. DEI stands for doing the right things the right way all the time.
Amazing to hear that. And thank you for sharing your story. Now, let's talk about DEI at the workplace. Let's begin by talking about the most common challenges that organizations are facing while they're trying to implement some DEI initiatives. And if you could share, say, 3 to 5 points, most common challenges.
Yes. One of the most challenges for organization is the buy-in, because a lot of people just don't understand the concept of DEI. DEI is not extension of like the Civil Rights Amendment, or is not being able to say that you're going to give precedence to one class or group of individual. So the first challenge is the mindset, is being able to define what DEI is and be able to get the buy-in from the senior executives. And so DEI is just the way that you're going to create your organization, where you allow the organization not just to tap into skill sets and experiences of multiple individuals, of multiple ethnicities, race groups, but it's a commitment. It's a commitment to be able to attract customers who value your corporate responsibility, because corporate social responsibility is a big part of how companies are able to gather their customer segmentation market. And so the first challenge is the mindset. The second is to be able to develop policies and procedures that allow you to enhance your DEI initiatives. And what DEI initiatives allow you to do is to be able to consider multiple viewpoints and multiple approaches of how you solve problems, how you are able to be effective and have more informed decisions occurring in your organization. So the second challenge is being able to create policies and procedures that don't violate, again, any group or class of individuals' rights or values, that you're not giving precedent from one group of or class of individuals over another. And the third is to make sure that you celebrate DEI. DEI is a celebration. And so I really don't even like to say the word initiative, because when we start talking about initiative, people start to think that you are being a racist or discriminatory against other people. And so it's just being able to lead your company to increase their productivity rate by allowing you to understand how to cater to the needs of all of your workers, how to create an environment where people foster, they're supportive, they're able to share their ideas, they're able to work with the various levels of management throughout the organization. So it's being able to understand DEI lets organizations identify their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So when we talk about strengths and weaknesses, we're talking about being able to identify the internal, what's going on inside the organization. And we all know the opportunities and threat is identify the challenges without. So I think legislation, because in this country, we all know that Florida and Texas have eliminated a lot of DEI programs. And what that has caused is that a lot of organizations have lost funding, and they also have lost support from their consumers. I'll give you a prime example. Because of the elimination of DEI programs, we have students who are in higher education that might have a learning disability. But because of that DEI programs have been eliminated, they're not going to be able to have those one-on-one academic counseling or support services that will allow them to be a productive citizen. So now you have people who would citizens in this country that would go and get training in their particular field, and now they just are not able to be successful in achieving their goals and objectives. We have people that have lost their jobs, and that also correlates to money. A lot of people don't understand, or a lot of executives don't understand, DEI equals money, okay? Because we all know that the return on investment is what you have leaders are really looking at the numbers. And so if you have students who are of various skill sets that you're looking for, and now that they have DEI programs that they cannot even receive a scholarship to the school, that means that their programs are not going to be as competitive versus another school that is offering these type of initiatives. And so that's going to lose money, and they're going to lose support. And so I think that people just don't understand the meaning of DEI. And Fortune 500 companies such as Google, such as Amazon, that continue to be in the number one and number two spots of the top Fortune 500 companies, they get it. They get it. They understand that it is a viewpoint. It is a way of life, because in this country, we live in a melting pot. So until we can include everyone, until we can have an opportunity where everyone is valued, and that you can agree to disagree and come up with a win-win situation, then they're not going to be competitive, and we're going to continue to see companies and states battle with what DEI really is.
Correct. And I really like the point of shifting the mindset to not saying it as DEI initiatives, but as DEI celebrations. So that's a great point there. And now suppose companies put their focus on these acts, these DEI efforts, DEI celebrations. How will they effectively measure if this is creating an impact? What metrics or KPIs should they be tracking to measure this?
Well, the first area that they should value is the retention rate.
Hmm.
You need to take statistics inside of your organization, one of how many people or how many employees are leaving or are staying. You also need to understand and take a metrics of how many individuals who are of minority descent, how many individuals who are women are in management or leadership position. You want to take a look at what is your customer target base. You want to look at the geographical areas where your company is excelling, and you also want to look at a profile of who are your customers. A company that can have a very diverse type of population is going to be more effective. That means that people across the country of various economic and social levels are supporting you. And a prime example of that is Maytel company. Maytel finally understood after all these years that if you create products that satisfy multiple individuals and multiple geographic and social economic status, that your company will be able to sell their products and build their customer base. So now, when I was playing with Maytel dolls back in 1970, I know that's a long time ago, there weren't that many types of really types of dolls. Okay. And so now Maytel has developed dolls who have disabled Asian dolls, African American dolls, all different types of ethnicity. And so now you have little girls that can gravitate to Maytel because they see a product that resembles them. And so they're able to expand their products, and they're able to sell their products to a larger consumer base, which is going to increase their productivity rate. And so that's what DEI allows you to do. DEI allows you to expand your resources and creates an opportunity for you to widen your ability to get your products initiated or situated into a particular market.
Got it. And an interesting example with the Meter company. Now, let's talk about equity and equality. A lot of times people use it interchangeably. So, can you explain what is the difference between the two, and why is equity more important in context of workplace inclusion?
Yes. So let's start with equity is making sure that you are valued, that everybody is looked at as equal, that everybody is looked at as a unique and appreciated in a responsive manner. So that means that if I have a company that everybody has the ability to have equal voices and equal respect, and that everybody is seen as a asset to my organization because everyone is bringing a particular uniqueness. Okay, and that is equality. Okay,
Hmm.
equity is that equity is that showing that you have the resources, that you are making sure that everyone understands um, what is available to them, what is the what they can do, and it is up to them to be able. It's up to the organization to show that when we have equity, that we are showing that we are providing the resources and that we are giving you an opportunity. Whereas equality is that it's a way of life that is allowing you to get a particular opportunity to use those resources to do something positive or do something negative. And so companies, when we talk about DEI, when we talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, equity is that everybody is given a chance. Okay, equality is that it's a way of life that based on um, your resources and based on your skill sets that you're doing something with that, that you're given an opportunity to be able to use those resources to increase your visibility within the organization, that you're able to use those resources to provide a way of life or provide you an opportunity to move up the organization.
Okay, got it. Uh, Now let's talk about the current scenario. What are some of the emerging trends or maybe some emerging challenges that you see in the field of DEI that organizations can be aware of?
Well, the first one is funding. Is funding, and so companies have to be very creative, and that means maybe joining forces. They might need to merge or acquire organizations that allow them to expand their DEI capabilities. When you emerge with, for example, Amazon during the COVID-19 pandemic, they were a huge player of being able to acquire smaller companies that allowed them to expand their diversification portfolio, to allow them to start offering a variety of products that they might not have had an opportunity to do so. And so, because of those acquisitions, they're able to expand, to create opportunities to now welcome different individuals as part of their organization. And so funding is very important. So they're going to have to be very creative in developing partnerships and funding for those types of initiatives. And one of the ways is that if you create products that draw people of different preferences and different backgrounds, then you can create opportunities for your company to make money. And so just being able to understand that DEI is a way of life, especially in this country where non minorities such as Caucasians, they're no longer the majority of the population in the United States. The number one group of individuals that is the Hispanic population, the African American population, and so this country has become more of a melting pot than ever before. And if companies can't gravitate to understand what that means as far as profit, then they will start to trickle down. And it will start to lose money. It will start to lose profit. Companies that understand, for example, that because the Hispanic population is growing and is growing rapidly, that you start to have companies now that are investing into offering services in multiple languages now. 20, 30 years ago, you didn't see that. And so companies that understand that the world is revolving around them, and if they do not catch up with their external factors, then they're going to lose track, and that's why we see so many companies that went bankrupt or closed their doors during COVID-19 because they weren't able to restructure themselves. They weren't able to understand, okay, in order to stay above water, what do I have to do? And companies who are very creative and innovative, they are still around. And so companies have to understand that the minority population in this country is going to get bigger and bigger. And so, how can you include those populations as part of your customer base? And those companies who want to have blinders on and think that eliminating DEI initiatives out of their programs or out of their policies or procedures is not going to hurt anyone except for them. Because as a minority, I can only tell you that I support companies that support my values, and I see individuals such as myself in leadership roles. So, for example, Coca-Cola has been doing that for years. Coca-Cola has had mentorships, has had scholarships for African American students and Hispanic students for 30 and 30 years. And that is why they have been able to prosper and be able to garner businesses for not just higher education, but for companies because they get it. They understand that in order to be successful, not only do you have to be successful domestically, but internationally. So Coca-Cola, McDonald's were one of the first American companies to be able to emerge themselves in the international waters. And so when companies, for example, a couple of years ago, maybe in 2017, 2018, 3 years before the pandemic came, McDonald's was closing maybe 50 or 60 stores a year in the United States, but they were prospering in globalization. And so they were still able to make money. And so a company that understands that demand and understands the notation of being a competitive organization means that you have to think outside the box. You can no longer group think. You can no longer have people that just say yes, sir, yes, ma'am, all the time. You need to have a group of individuals that are going to push your way of thinking and introduce you to new way of life, just like artificial intelligence is doing right now in this country across the world.
Correct. Now, Rini, my last question to you is, what is one advice that, or one takeaway that you would like to give to the individuals who are watching this podcast and want to make a difference in promoting DEI in their own communities or workplaces?
Well, one thing that I would like a takeaway is that I want to talk about three things. DEI allows a company to be in compliance and to eliminate their risk management, because a company that embraces DEI helps organizations to comply with legal requirements and to mitigate risks associated with discrimination and biases. So a company that creates a DEI umbrella, I think umbrella is a better word than initiatives. The company that embraces DEI celebrations and their umbrella is able to stay away from lawsuits and public and negative public images. Also, a company that also embraces DEI is able to have a wider pool of talent that allows a company to look at new perspectives, looks at new product innovations, looks at how can we incorporate everyone into our organization. So just for example, DI initiatives could be that we know we have an ADEA, right, which is we have a age discriminatory a law that anyone over the age of 40 cannot be discriminated in the workplace. And so what DEI allows companies to do is to be creative and say, how are you going to use a worker such as me? So since I'm in my mid 50s, that law represents me. So how can my company use me in order to, one, retain me because I have knowledge of the industry and I have knowledge about the history, the historical perspective of that company. So how can that company still make me feel that I'm a valuable asset to the company? And so one of the ways that companies can do is mentoring. So when new professors, for example, come in, I mentor them. I mentor them on how to be creative, how to use, say, artificial intelligence, and how to be comfortable with working in that particular environment. And so the new employee just uses me just like a sponge to be able to absorb knowledge that they might not know about, because I have that knowledge since I have been there and I've been in the industry. Also, what DEI does is allow you to introduce new concepts to society, and that's based on having different types of teams. Like when you have a DEI team, it allows you to create a product that resembles the values and integrity at that time of society and the time of what the society is going through. And so DEI just lets you look at a different, comes up with different solutions by looking at different lenses. And being able to understand the different perspective of each group that is associated with your organization, whether it be individuals who are senior citizens, individuals who are minorities, individuals who are women, men, individuals who have a disability. And so it just allowed you to understand when you have groups of individuals that represents those groups in society that are actually working inside of your organization, they bring a different perspective. They bring a different type of a solution that allows the company to look at every different perspective and say, how can we just make all these perspectives and create a product or opportunity for our company that will attract and retain our customer base. So it's just being able to go into a room and pick up various different library books and obtain knowledge from those books and be able to use it and say, okay, based on all the knowledge that I've learned today, what does it mean for my stakeholders? What does it mean for my shareholders? What does it mean for the perspective of my organization being able to hold industry position and have a competitive advantage over others who might not be thinking about that same perspective?
Got it. Thank you for this detailed pointers and giving us insights about the world of DEI. It was great to hear the answers, and I'm sure the audience has picked up a lot of new perspectives and ideas about DEI. And we are excited about your book coming out in the month of November. So, to our audience, pre-order the book now. And thank you so much, Deneen, for joining us today for the podcast on DEI.
Thank you for allowing me. And I just want to end with one more statement. DEI is, In Vogue was a group back in the 80s, and they had a song. And so one of the verses from that song is "Free your mind, and the rest will follow." Okay, and so free your mind, and everything that is supposed to follow will be if you understand the needs of your employees, the needs of your customers, and you have a vision, and you align. DEI helps you align your vision and mission to your strategical goals.
A great takeaway for the podcast. And thank you so much once again, Deneen, for joining us.
Thank you for the opportunity. Everybody have a great day.